Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with part two of the Love Camp 7 movie review. I'm sorry I've been so long-winded on this. I'm going to do my best to try to hurry it up. Um, let's go ahead and get back into it. Now, where I believe we last left off was the part where Linda, like I said, they were put into these, basically almost like cubicle areas where they had these bunk beds, and now Grace had been pulled off of the top bunk by one soldier into the bottom bunk so this guy could have a three-way with two girls, and then this other soldier, German soldier, he got into bed with Linda, and Linda was not having it, and she fought back, and it ultimately ends up with her being taken to detention where she's pretty much, she's got her hands pulled behind her back, and she's, tied, her hands are tied up with a rope, where the Nazi officer, takes off his belt, and he's taunting her and hitting her with the belt and everything. So he decides he's going to go ahead and leave her there for a while. Well, now while she's hanging there, it turns out that there's a woman laying on the floor, and she's, barely alive, it seems. And, she's got her hands and her feet tied. And so she says, I'll go ahead and I'll help you out. And so she rolls over and gets underneath Linda's feet. And she tells her, step up on my back. That way it'll ease the pressure up on your arms. So Linda does. And it feels a little bit better. But so then it's revealed that the woman that's helping her out is actually Martha Grossman, the woman that they've been looking for this entire time. And so she asks her, are you Martha? And yes, I am. And so, I'm here to help you. And she's, I'm a whack officer, and I'm here to help you and, get you out and all this stuff. And so, Martha immediately rolls out from under Linda and drops her. And she's all, she thought, I don't know you. And, I can't trust anyone anymore. And so Linda is telling her, you got to believe me. And she's like, look, I have details that only the Americans would know. And so she explains the details to her. And so, Martha ultimately finally does believe Linda and rolls back so she could step on her back, to ease the pressure. And so she's all like, I need you to go ahead and tell me everything you know. And she's like, there's going to be an escape, it's like here in just a couple of days. We got, people in the French resistance, and they're going to help, get us out of here and all this. But, just in case, I need you to tell me all the information you have. And she's like, I'll remember everything. Just make sure you tell me. And so she starts telling her everything. And then, now you can see the tensions are mounting and everything else. And so, they contact the French resistance and ask, do you think we should go ahead and storm? It's like, no. Well, we've got word that, Linda Harmon, she's, been taken to detention. We don't know what for. And so, they're like, no, it's like, if she was in there, either it was a mistake or she got in there on purpose. But, there's a reason there why she's in there. So no, we need to wait and, do it at, do the 5 days like we originally planned. It could ruin everything if we go in there sooner. Well, so now we get to the, during this time, this general, I believe, he comes in and he goes to the commandant, and he tells the commandant that, that they're going to be switching things around and rotating. And the commandant's, fearful at this at first because, you see this guy, he's kind of a tubby guy, and, he's not really a fighter type or anything. You could tell that just by looking at him. So, he's telling him like, yeah, I was told, that I was going to be left here and that I was going to be in permanent charge of this camp and everything. And so this commander is like, don't worry, you're still going to be in charge for the time being. It's, oh, thank you. And so he's like, but, here in a few days or here in the next day or so, my soldiers are going to be coming in, and we want to have an orgy. We want food and drink, and we, all the women we can handle. And, we want you to arrange all of that for us. And so he's like, yeah, sure. So, he's telling him, hey, would you like to sample some of the girls? And he's like, no, but I do have something that you can do for me. He's like, okay. So the commandant, he brings 4 of the girls into the commandant's office, and Grace is one of them. Linda's not. I believe she's still in the detention, but Grace is one of them. And so he tells the girls that the general wants to watch the four of them get it on. He wants to watch the four women make love to each other, and he wants to be able to sit and watch and enjoy it. So the girls, so he's all like, get started. And so he leaves. And so the general's sitting at the desk and he's watching these girls, and they're all having sex with each other and stuff. And it's not like triple X rated or anything like that, but it does get a little bit spicy, to say the least. So now we finally hit the night of, and the French resistance, they're getting to the camp, they're sneaking up, they're trying to cut the fence wires and try to get ready so they can get the girls out. Meanwhile, the commander, he didn't recommend, but he ordered that the women wear lingerie. So the big gross officer, he comes in with Gotthard, and so he takes this lingerie and he throws it on the floor. He tells the women, "Put it on. You girls are getting ready to go to work." And so the girls start putting all the lingerie on and everything. And so in the meanwhile, he decides, he's like, "Well, we're all going to sit here. We're going to wait a while." Sorry about that. My camera is a little off angle. So anyway, they're all like, "We're going to wait a while." And so he decides he's going to take Linda and have some fun with her. And so he starts trying to, have his way with Linda. And Gotthard is getting offended. He's like, "Oh, leave these girls alone." So he tries to get this officer off of the girl, and he gets hit, and he's all like, these women are not people, and all this other kind of stuff. And if you don't like it, then leave. But if but I'm gonna have my way with these girls. So he starts, basically sexually molesting Linda, and so Gotthard, he stands next to Grace, and Grace starts telling him about, look, why don't you help us? And obviously you don't believe in any of this stuff. You don't think that it's right. Why don't you help us get out of here? And and all this kind of stuff. And the funny thing is, it's like, I don't even know. I think it's kind of funny that why would she have this conversation with him, with Gotthard, when literally, like, the soldier is sexually molesting Linda, like not even 6 feet away from them. So I mean, it's not like he can't hear what they're saying. And meanwhile, too, it's like they're standing not too far away from the door, and right by the door there are more soldiers. So it's like everybody can hear what these two are saying, and I don't understand how the hell they had this private conversation that nobody else could hear. But it's kind of weird. But Gotthard, over and over again, just I'm a soldier. It's like, if I was an officer, maybe circumstances would be different. But I'm a soldier, and soldier has to follow his duty. It's like, you have to understand that. She's like, "Okay, fine, I understand." And so they're starting to have their orgy and all this kind of stuff. And outside, the resistance comes in and they start fighting from the outside, and the guns start going off and everything else. Usually that's how a lot of these Nazi-ploitation movies work. It's usually like either, some allies come in and help get the people out of the camp, and they start a war, like lots of soldiers being killed and things like that. Well, meanwhile, they're in the commandant's office and they're all having this big orgy and stuff. And so, when, the stuff hits the fan, they start fighting and everything else. And at one point, one of the girls are getting shot. A lot of the girls are getting shot. The officers are getting killed. Like Linda, at one point, she grabs a corkscrew off the table. The big gross German guard who's raped her a bunch of times, he's coming at her. She sticks the corkscrew in his throat, and we get just a tiny little hint of her doing kind of a karate kick, but that's about all you see as far as like their whole, because it's built up at the beginning of the movie that both Linda and Gloria have all this karate fighting expertise. That's about as much of it as you see. She gets maybe one or two kicks in. That's about it. So they're fighting and everything else. And Grace, at one point, she gets a gun. Gotthard comes up to her, and he's just kind of looking at her, kind of like a deer in headlights. And she decides, well, she's going to go ahead and shoot him because he will try to stop her. So she ends up shooting him in the neck, and I guess basically he lays down, bleeds out. And so the commandant, he's got this one girl by the hair, and so she grabs like a whiskey bottle or something. She hits him in the face with it, so he's blind. He's got blood all over his eyes and everything. And so he's like shooting off his gun and everything. And so you got the three girls. You got Martha Grossman, you got Gloria, and you got Linda. They try to make a run for it. Linda and Martha actually managed to make it out the door, but just as Gloria is right about at the doorway there, she gets shot down. And, I thought that was kind of interesting that she would end up getting killed, because I have to admit, when I first watched the movie, I thought if one of them was going to get killed, it would probably be Linda, because Linda was the one who was always, even though she was supposed to go along with everything and she was not supposed to cause any trouble, she was the one who was always kind of like stirring shit up and getting put in detention and things like that. She kind of comes off as the one who seemed like she wasn't going to handle it very well, whereas Gloria seemed like she could. She was uncomfortable, but she seemed like she could kind of deal with things a little bit better. So anyway, so that's it. Gloria falls down dead, and then they're still doing the fighting and everything else, and then Linda and Martha, they find the French resistance where they open up the fence for them. So the two of them, they scoot out and they go, run, and all this stuff. So they go running off, and you see a German soldier sees that, them heading off into the woods and stuff. So he grabs a dog and they go out, searching for him. And that's pretty much where the story ends. Then we're back in the office with the American, who talks like this, and the British lieutenant and the other man, and he's all like, yes. And so he's like, well, so what happened? What happened to Martha Grossman? And he's all like, oh, I don't know. Last I heard, she got married and she's, got 4 kids, and she's living her full good life and everything else. And well, what about Linda Freeman, or no, Linda Harmon? I'm sorry, Gloria Freeman, Linda Harmon. Sorry, got that mixed up. So what about Linda Harmon? Well, yeah, I'm not really sure what happened with her and all this. And so they're like, okay, well, we got to go. So I'll see you later and all this stuff. Okay. Me and my wife, we'd love to have you over for dinner and all this. So the British lieutenant, he goes outside, hails a cab, gets into the cab, and, he's, at first, we hear a female voice and we don't know who it is, but I think the audience pretty much like in a second will guess who it is. But how was your day, dear? Oh, fine. How was your day? Oh, fine. And then we see that the British lieutenant actually married Linda. And so the two of them are going home together, and that's pretty much where the movie ends. Okay, now, like I said in the first video, I would say pretty much that I would have to say, yeah, when it comes to the Nazi exploitation movies, probably still the standout one in terms of storytelling and execution would probably still have to be Ilsa, She Wolf of the SS. There are many different ones. You have some of them are, some of them have a little bit more of a legit storyline. They're about, freeing prisoners from camps and, showing like the torture and everything that goes on at these camps and things like that. You got some of them, they're just pure exploitation. I'm sorry, the name of it escapes me. There's one that it was nothing but softcore porn. And it was just all, sex and nudity. And I need to try to figure out which one that one was so I can review that one. But yeah, this one here, like I said, when you watch this movie, you're going to understand like right away that the beautiful women are the selling point of this movie. Okay, that's why you're watching it. You're watching it to see the beautiful naked women, which there is an abundance of that. And, they look beautiful and they're gorgeous and everything. But the one thing that just kind of kept coming to my mind, at least when I was watching the movie, was it almost seems as if this was some kind of it's clear that like the Nazi soldiers in this movie, they're clearly guys who, if this was any other circumstance, just any ordinary everyday circumstances, these guys could never get women like this. These women are way too beautiful for them. They're sexy, all this kind of stuff. And it's like in regular life, if there had not been a war going on, they did not have the power that they have. They could never get women like this. And it almost as if the Nazi soldiers seem like they know this. And that's where a lot of the torture and hatred towards these women come from, is the fact that they know that any other circumstance, they could never score women like this, ever. There seems to be a lot of that in this movie, but yeah, just the acting, not the greatest. Like I said, you maybe got like a couple of actors and actresses in this movie who attempt to try like a German accent or a French accent, but mostly, it's kind of really ridiculous in the sense that it's supposed to be Germans, and and you got German officers who just are regular American people speaking with American accents. They're not even attempting a German accent and stuff. Whereas, like, I remember while watching this, I was thinking to myself, like, how cool would it be if Quentin Tarantino made this movie? Because he would have gone to great lengths, even if it was a nudity exploitation movie. I think he would have gone to great lengths to try to put his knowledge of World War II and everything into it, to try to make the movie um, not just not just Tarantino, but like Spielberg or any other really good director. They would try to put their knowledge of World War II into it to really try to make the movie have a more authentic feel. And especially in Tarantino's case, he would have been like, no, it's like, these are supposed to be Germans, so I'm going to go get, German actors, and they're going to speak, and we're going to have subtitles. And that's how he would have done it, which it's like people may not have liked it, and they would have hated having to read the subtitles, but you could, at least say that it would have been a lot more authentic. But overall, yeah, I mean, it's an exploitation movie. I can't honestly say it's a fun watch, but I mean, if you like lots of female nudity and abundance of it, if especially if you're kind of like you're kind of guy you like to see women dominated, you're gonna like this. If you're a feminist, I don't know how this would play for you. I mean, you might enjoy the fact that the women, um, the whole time the women kind of seem to have a power over the German soldiers and ultimately win over them in the end. Um, I would just say kind of like, yeah, just that would be my biggest complaint about this movie, was just that it's just not very good acting. Anybody who attempts at at an accent is not particularly convincing at it. A lot of them don't even try. Not the most convincing special effects in the world. But anyway, I mean, this is kind of if you just want something for good schlocky fun, and you want something with a lot of nudity in it. And then, I promise you, this movie will not let you down on the nudity part. There's plenty of that in store. So, anyway, I think I've talked long enough. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm going to really try not to make this a habit, start doing movie reviews in 2 videos. But anyway, that's it. So, yeah, if you just, you like exploitation, you like sleaze, you like a lot of nudity, definitely give Love Camp 7 a try. So, if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I'm sorry I was so long-winded. I made the video take so long, splitting up into 2 parts. But again, if you enjoyed it, I thank you for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. There'll be more movie reviews and other videos available. I do have a spotlight coming up that I need to get work on and have that out and ready. But anyway, so that's it. Everybody, take care. Again, thank you again for watching, enduring all of this, and have a good night.